watch Dark Side of the Ring at all?
I've caught a few episodes of it. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. I watch some news and maybe
Mm.
some music stuff before I go to bed. But
There's been a few episodes recently, and one that's coming up as well that I wanted to refer to and get your opinions on. The first one is the one that's just gone as we record this, as I keep saying, Junkyard Dog. And I was also thinking, where would you have crossed paths with him? And then I thought, you were in WCW at the same time, in
mhm.
'92, I think, and a tiny bit in '93 as well. And I thought I'd get your opinion on Junkyard Dogs. Obviously, it was not the best time for JYD, and
Yeah.
but I suppose your thoughts on Junkyard Dog when you met him.
Uh, Again, in the dressing room, most of these guys were pretty down to earth. Especially to the kids coming in.
Mm.
Because we were no threat to them. And I think there was a part of that generation that knew they have to pass some of this stuff along. And with Sylvester, it was funny because you'd see him like in that character, which he played so well on camera. And backstage, it was because we're just new into the business and coming in, and you're expecting the junkyard dog to be in the dressing room, because this is what you've watched on TV for how long. And he was on the quiet side, but he was friendly. He'd always walk around, say hello. Uh, he, like from his Mid South days, and then of course getting pulled to WWF. And I think he was there when I was there in '90. I'm not positive of that, but I'm pretty sure as I remember
No,
he
no,
was.
he was let go in '88, I
Okay,
believe.
so I had it wrong. Yeah, after this many years, you start to lose. They sort of blend into
Mm.
each other. But he. This is where the industry sort of met this fork in the road, right? Where it's had been this one highway going forward. We'll say it was highway wrestling, and it was now veering off towards what I would say cartoon land, entertainment, whatever Vince wants to call it. And like when you go back and you look at Sylvester, what he was doing in Mid South, a little bit edgier, a little bit harder, a little bit more straightforward. But now he's taking on this full junkyard dog thing, right? He's barking and doing the stuff down. For me, as at that stage of my career, and as a fan, just before breaking into the industry, I remember because I was well aware of his Mid South stuff because we had gotten it in Pittsburgh, but the magazines and things, and then of course that's where I got my break in the business when it was UWF. So I'm watching this guy, and steps into the business, first few steps into the business. I'm hearing these stories of these matches that he had in Mid South, and then I'm watching on TV and thinking like, okay, this doesn't quite add up. But almost at the same, like simultaneous to that, I looked at it and thought, well, he's getting a little bit older. Now he's making a lot more money and having to do far less than he was doing in Mid South. So your brain starts to pull it all in. Okay, so like these guys that are in their mid 40s, pushing 50, and he's able to still go out and be a big part, I think, of what became the WWF and WrestleMania and all of that. It was built on the shoulder of all those guys that came in and did those characters, but had those histories in the business of being tough nosed, hard guys. Later the bushwhackers from the sheep herders, and all that history that came with them at the same time into the industry. For him though, having you know have what happened to him, it seemed almost like sort of unfair. Like in the business that we drive so much in and travel so much in cars. Excuse me. To have something like that happen seemed, almost like a cruel twist of fate. And but it also, as a kid, woke you up. When we were Mid South and we're driving some weeks 10,000 miles, and thinking, well, you just nod off for a second. That's it. That's the end of it. It's you're going to have a good chance of having one foot in the grave. So all those things are coming at the same time. You're trying to learn all these endless things about wrestling and performing in front of an audience. You're also trying to take in that side of it. Like what do you want to avoid? And like my mother used to say, sometimes you got to skin your knees. How can I not skin my knees like these guys? I mean, can I learn something from these guys? And I think where I sit now, and as a student of my game, I think there's an awful lot of that. That the good and the bad. What can I learn from these guys to do in the ring? What can I learn from these guys not to do outside of the ring? And it seemed like a never ending learning process of picking all that stuff up, good and bad.
Do you remember the very brief? This was just before he died, I believe. Junkyard Dog made like a one-time appearance in ECW. Do you remember
I
that
don't
day? Oh, do you not?
know what year was that.
It must have been 98, I think. So you would have been there, but maybe you weren't at the show. But he made a one-time appearance, and then he got into a fight with New Jack.
Oh, I do remember that. Yes. Now that you say that, I remember thinking to myself, because like I'd heard Jack speak highly of him earlier. Like, I don't know, it was a month, 2, 6, 12. And then I hear they had some kind of falling out. I don't think I was there though. I'm not sure. Again, how it blends together. I'm not sure if I was there, and like typically we had our own dressing room, or if I'd heard about it after the fact. But I can't recall what it was over.
I think one owed the other money for weed. WrestlePalooza 1998. It was what it was.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that would have been when I wrestled New Jack, Al Snow. So that would explain why I wouldn't remember, because they had me so pilled up to be able to go out to perform. It should have been nowhere near the ring.
Was that the split palate
affair, and the elbow? Yeah, it was. That was a tough loop.
Yeah.